More leaks coming out, and INEOS and Manchester United are not happy about those leaks. Ruben Amorim set to receive 12 million in compensation if Manchester United sack him. I mean, if he's trying to get himself sacked, you can't exactly blame him for that. Not that I think he is. Luis Enrique wanted by INEOS, but obviously he's very happy at PSG. We'll talk about the manager, the latest on that. We've got updates on Cunha and his return. Also updates about Lisandro Martinez being back in training, Shea Lacey being involved in training as well and rated highly by Ruben Amorim and more. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer and update news show. I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news into 10 minutes for you guys. Starting with this first story from Rich Fay. It was revealed this week that Manchester United would have to pay Amorim 12 million compensation package if they're to sack him within the first year of his contract. That is a crazy amount of money he receives for getting sacked. Now, I do look at it and I think he's come to England. He's clearly not that happy in England anymore because you look at his press conferences. Sometimes I hate my players. Sometimes I want to quit. He's clearly not super happy. I mean, there's obviously people saying, what if he's trying to get sacked so we can go back to Portugal with 12 million? Who'd blame him? And to be honest, I'd be annoyed as a Man United fan if he was trying to do that, but could you blame him? It's our fault for giving him a 12 million option if we sack him. But I think Ruben Amorim is a winner, and I think he wants to win, and I think he's angry with himself that he's not winning, and I think he's doing what he can to win. It's just frustrating because everything he's doing isn't working, but he won't change what he's doing, which is obviously not working. But it's a 12 million compensation. Do you think Man United wait until November something so then the compensation goes down and they say a couple million? Because if they give Amorim just a year and 1 day, they pay him less. I don't know. I don't think Ruben Amorim's deliberately trying to get sacked so he gets his compensation. I don't believe that's the case. I think Ruben Amorim really wants to make it work at United. He did say in the past that he would walk and Man United wouldn't have to give him compensation, but I doubt he would do that. But obviously, that is a lot of money that Ruben Amorim will get. And this is why I want it to work under Ruben Amorim. For financial reasons, you've spent all this money to bring in this manager. You brought players for this manager in the summer, and you'd have to spend all this money to sack the manager. You know, as much as things are bad under Ruben Amorim, I just want him to get result versus Chelsea, and I just want it to work because I cannot be bothered to go through this cycle of sacking managers. And while we have more money than we think we have, we then have to start again. But the more and more I watch us play and the more and more Amorim's reluctant to change, the more and more I'm leaning towards, should we look at someone like Iriola? But let's see if he does change, and let's see if we can get a good run of form and we can build some results. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not confident we will. I'm not confident we are going to improve, but I hope I'm wrong. So let's talk about the leaks, because INEOS are reportedly not very happy about them. Graham Bailey said this: "The one thing the club are furious about is the potential of leaks again. Seeing stories about players and squad members not being convinced by Amorim or his tactics. The club thought they had really stamped this out. They see it as totally deductive to what they're trying to do." So more leaks have come out in regards to United and players having, a lack of confidence in Amorim and his tactics. There has been a few leaks coming out. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. There's a lot less leaks coming out now than there was this time last year under Ten Hag. I don't think there's much leaks coming out. But what I will say is, I think one thing that Ruben Amorim has done really well is the players he's brought in and out of the club. He's got rid of a lot of the troublemakers. There isn't a player power issue at Manchester United anymore, in my opinion. A lot of the troublemakers he's got rid of. He's brought the right characters in. I think that's one thing that Ruben Amorim has done well. And I do feel there's less leaks. He's built a leadership squad with Maguire, Leacher, Lisandro Martinez, Bruno, Casemiro to help guide other players in. He wants players with the right mentality. So naturally, we're going to be getting less leaks, which is good. You've also got to remember that when journalists write reports saying dressing room sources say this doesn't necessarily mean it's a player leak. It could be the journalist completely making something up or hearing it from another source. But obviously, there's been leaks about the players having a lack of confidence in Ruben Amorim and not liking this and not liking that. And obviously, the club are furious to see those leaks go out. But at the same time, you know what? I'm all for backing the players over the manager. So all for backing the manager over the players. Under every other manager, when the players have acted out, I've stood up for the manager. When there was leaks against Ten Hag, I stood up for the manager. When there was leaks against Ole, I stood up for the manager because I said time and time again, these players turn on managers, they throw managers under the bus, and I stood up for the manager. But what I will say in regards to Ruben Amorim is there shouldn't be leaks coming out on Ruben Amorim. That's not acceptable if players are leaking information. But when you look at the fact that Ruben Amorim is playing Bruno Fernandes as a 6, when Bruno doesn't have the defensive awareness to do that role, and he's the most creative player in the league, and he's playing him as a 6, when you look at Amorim not getting the best out of Maino, not knowing how to use Maino, not knowing how to use Ahmad, when you look at Ruben Amorim's 7 wins in 31 games, if the players are having doubts around Ruben Amorim, can you blame them? It's a sad situation to be in, and I think the players need to be doing everything they can to work hard and get behind Amorim. But could you blame the players for having doubts in Ruben Amorim? We all have doubts. We're not seeing enough. Could you blame the players for losing a bit of patience in Amorim, or not sure about his ideas? I can't. I don't like that leaks are coming out that some players are questioning Amorim and his approach. But at the same time, you can't really blame the players because we haven't seen anything from Ruben Amorim to say, okay, he is the guy. Hopefully we do. But, I mean, even with the leaks coming out, I can't blame the players for feeling that way about Ruben Amorim because it's been really bad. Now, look, I'm completely against player power. I'm completely against players leaking against the manager. But I feel that we've cleared that player power at United. I don't think we have a player power issue in the dressing room. And I don't think players are specifically leaking things. But I do think inside the dressing room, because of the results, there could be a lack of confidence in Amorim, which isn't ideal. And hopefully he can get the players back on side and believing in him. But when the results are as bad as they are, can you blame the players? As much as I don't like that the players having doubts over Amorim, can you blame them? So let's continue on into other stories. Ben Jacobs was on the United stand today, and he said many things, so make sure you go check out the full video. But one of the things that Ben Jacobs mentioned on the United stand today was in regards to Luis Enrique, obviously PSG manager, obviously the guy that won the Champions League with PSG battering Inter in the final. But apparently before United approached Ruben Amorim, they actually discussed Luis Enrique, who was very happy at PSG. I think it would have been very difficult to get Luis Enrique out of PSG and bring him to United mid-season last year. And I think one of the reasons we went for Amorim is because a lot of the other managers were looking at it was almost impossible to get them mid-season, whereas Amorim was willing to go mid-season. But it's interesting that Ben Jacobs said that we were looking at Enrique. I look at Flick, I look at Enrique. They are the perfect kind of managers for Manchester United. I think right now, if we sack Amorim, the manager market isn't great. The best realistic manager out there is maybe Iriola. You could try for an Eddie Howe, but would he go? Would even Iriola go? Man United have killed off so many managers. Would managers want to go to United? But Luis Enrique would be such an obvious pick and would have been such a good choice. And it's quite interesting to know we were looking at him before we brought in Amorim, but he was happy. He is happy at PSG, and I think he will stay at PSG for a bit longer. I don't think we'll be getting Luis Enrique. I think Amorim is safe for the next couple of games, but I think if things are bad by November, Amorim could be sacked. I think we will be looking at another manager. I don't think it's Luis Enrique. One thing that could help Amorim get back on track is, of course, Matheus Cunha, a fantastic player who's looked fantastic in the opening few games, but did pick up an injury. What is the latest on Cunha's injury? Matheus Cunha has begun individual indoor grass training as he recovers. The current expectation is not to risk him against Chelsea. He's working super hard to be back. Apparently, Cunha is saying to Amorim that he's ready for the Chelsea game. He's back for the Chelsea game, but Amorim will make the final decision. Probably doesn't want to take any risks on Cunha. We don't really have any updates in regards to Mason Mount and his injury, but hopefully he's back soon. But it's good to know that Cunha is back on grass training. He's back soon. He's expected to be back soon, because I felt that when he came off in that Burnley game, we went from dominating the game to dropping off a bit. I feel he's such an important player, and I feel like right now everything's going through Mbeumo on attack because we don't have Cunha. Everything is going through Mbeumo, sometimes Ahmad on that right-hand side. So it's good to know that Cunha should be back soon. And again, Solly also mentioned something about Shea Lacey. He said that Shea Lacey has trained with the first team today and yesterday, with Ruben Amorim impressed with his performances in training. The club view him as one of their best talents. Now, Shea Lacey hasn't been as involved with the under-21s this season. He's been more involved with the first team and first team training because he's viewed very highly. Shea Lacey is probably one of the highest rated academy talents we have, but he's had a lot of injury issues, which has set him back a bit, but we know what a good player there is. And Ruben Amorim is liking the player, he's liking what he's seeing in training, and there could be some first team opportunities coming up for Shea Lacey, which would be good to see. He's done well in training, he's impressing people at the club. And maybe they take a risk and give him a debut. He's probably someone that plays best at right 10. When you've got Mbeumo, you've got Ahmad. It will be interesting to see where the minutes will come. But there is talk of Shea Lacey getting a debut. We know that Jim Thwaites is highly rated. We know that Sekou Kone is liked. So that's good to see, because Amorim needs to change something. And, I don't think it's necessarily the 10s that need to change, but to have someone like Shea Lacey is an option that could come off the bench and try and make an impact, an interesting option to have. And then last but not least, how safe is Amorim? According to Sean Connolly, Amorim retains the support of Wilcox and Barada, who revert to metrics such as chance creation and shots as an underlying measure of work on the training field and the margins in missed and fixtures. Weirdly, Manchester United in the past have had much higher points totals, but had much lower metrics, suggesting we're underperforming. Whereas now we've got much higher metrics, but much lower points, suggesting we're underperforming. So one of the reasons why Amorim is going to get a bit of time is because we've had the most touches in the box. We had the highest XG up until this game week. We had this, we had that. Our stats and underlying numbers are good. So that might be one of the reasons INEOS is willing to give Amorim a bit of time. Are you willing to give Amorim a bit of time because his stats and numbers are good? Or do you just think it's not going to change until he changes? Let's do the inevitable. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.